Hi friends, welcome to my recap of Governing Body Update number 4. It's amazing because for the first time in many months, it's not focused on the pandemic and natural disasters. This update is starring Samuel Hurd, and he calls it faith strengthening. So let's check it out.
I'm sure you'll find it faith strengthening. In late April, Brother Mark Sanderson traveled to Poland. A special meeting was held at the Assembly Hall in Warsaw to encourage the brothers and sisters affected by the ongoing war in Ukraine. One circuit overseer in the Donbass region wrote, "It was a wonderful program and food at the proper time. It brings tears of joy to see how Jehovah loves us." After the program, Brother Sanderson and 3 branch committee members traveled 2,500 kilometers or 1,550 miles throughout Poland to visit refugees and hardworking volunteers at assembly halls, kingdom halls, and border crossings. Truly, this visit was a warm expression of Jehovah's love for his people. We sincerely thank all of you for your prayers and generous donations that make the relief work possible.
All right, so Samuel Hurd admits that the generous donations were not from Watchtower, but they were from the rank and file. I watched that video of Sanderson, and I wonder if he brought anything tangible to those people other than himself. Did you notice how he was surrounded by those suits, kind of like an entourage, an assembly line so that the people can shake his hand? I also would have loved to have heard the content of Sanderson's talk. I wonder what it was that was so encouraging, because I know I listen to the updates, the governing body, JW broadcast. I read the articles so that I can recap them, of course. And I don't find anything encouraging. I find a lot of fear under the disguise of encouragement. So I really wonder if he focused on Armageddon, maybe the King of the North. I don't know. Anyway, take a look to see what else the governing body feels is important enough to feature in this month's update.
On May 4th, 71-year-old Sister Valentina Baranowskaya was finally released from prison. She was in prison for well over a year. But we've not forgotten that your son, Roman, is still in prison for his faith.
I just want to set this matter straight. When I was a Jehovah's Witness, I was told that the governments and other religions, all of the people would turn against us because we were the only true religion on earth. That's what I was taught. So we have these people imprisoned for their faith, as Hurd claims, but to set the matter straight, they're imprisoned not because they're the only true religion on earth, but because they're considered extremist. The Russian government labeled them having propaganda of exclusivity. They considered that their literature incited hatred against other religious groups. You know, Christendom is going to be destroyed. Babylon the Great's going to fall. That's why she was imprisoned, not because she was of the only true religion on earth. Her son was accused of organizing activities of a banned organization, not because he is a member of the only true religion on earth. Those are the facts. All right, let's move on.
I'm also looking forward to that I can live a more normal family life with my beloved wife, Irina. I'm very glad and I appreciate all that all the brothers and sisters has done for me in these 5 years.
Listen, I'm not against the rank and file Jehovah's Witness. Please understand my heart. I'm so sorry to hear that these people are being imprisoned for their faith. They're being imprisoned for a corporation, a book publishing corporation that now seems to be turning into a real estate empire. I'm not against these people. My heart goes out to them, and I pray for them. I pray for the rank and file. Anyway, I just wanted to clear the air on that.
Many people ask me, "Oh, Dennis, have the prison time crushed you? Did they break you?" No way. Never, ever. And you know what? I am more determined than ever to be faithful to Jehovah. More determined to preach the good news, to help other brothers and sisters and other people to gain our goals. The goal is eternal life in paradise, where we all have the opportunity to serve and praise Jehovah forever.
Around the world, over 150 of our brothers and sisters are in prison for their faith. Keep in mind those in prison, as though you were imprisoned with them. We also can meditate on their fine example. We're encouraged to imitate their faith. We're motivated to endure our own current trials, and we're assured that we can endure future trials with joy.
Future trials, huh? Well, now that's encouraging. Anyway, he moves along with an interview with some brothers who had faced prison time. Here's a glimpse, friends, just enough to scare the life out of the indoctrinated.
My criminal prosecution began on July 22, 2018. It was a Sunday. A meeting was in progress. After the search had finished, they told me that I had to go with them.
I opened the door because FSB officers were persistently ringing the doorbell. Then after a few seconds came the sound of smashing glass. They'd smashed the balcony, then broken down the door in the balcony. And when my wife had tried to tell them the door was already open so that they wouldn't smash anything, pieces of glass cut her forehead and a vein was... They cut a vein in her hand. And then the officers approached me and showed me the search warrant. And I said to them, "I'm not interested in the warrant. Call an ambulance." We wanted to send my wife to the hospital, but she decided to stay with me.
So the wife tries to tell them, the door's opened, don't do any more damage. But of course, the bad guys, the armed men had to break the glass, and she gets a vein cut in her hand.
The search continued for 5 hours. So they locked me up. 2 days later, there was a court hearing at which they ruled to place me under arrest and send me to pretrial detention center.
The most difficult part of all the persecution was being in the pressure cell. When I entered, or rather, when the workers and guards of the detention center pushed me in there, the first thing I heard was the word, "Get down on your knees." But I told them that the only person I went down on my knees for was God. They laid out instruments of torture in front of me and said that I wouldn't be able to stand it or hold out.
They put me into a solitary confinement cell. I was worried about who I would preach to if I had to spend the whole period there.
All right, so this guy gets put into solitary confinement, and all he can think about is who he's going to preach to. You see, this is the life of the Jehovah's Witness, because their God has conditions. If you're not preaching, if you're not being good, Jehovah is not going to accept your worship. So in the minds of these guys, if their God is going to save them, they better well be preaching. Is it because he has such a love of preaching? I don't know. I don't know this guy's heart. But we do know the fear that they have if they don't get in their time. Regardless of whether the hours requirement has been decreased or not, they need to be doing their preaching. So he goes on to say that he's praying very, very hard, and lo and behold, a guy gets placed in the cell next to his. Notice what happens.
I sang kingdom songs to him and read scriptures that the brothers and sisters had sent me in letters. There was a cell next to mine that was also a solitary confinement cell, and it was often empty. Almost every day, I prayed to Jehovah that my friend and brother Vadim would be transferred to that cell.
But in the evening, someone came into my cell and said, "Levchuk, you are being transferred." And they took me out to a different block, took me into a cell, and I heard Sergei's voice in the next cell through the wall saying, "Vadim, is that you?" I said, "Yes, it's me." And he said, "Oh, that's wonderful, I begged Jehovah for you." And when I heard that he begged for me to be moved to the next cell, I was quite angry, because my return visits had been messed up. We had agreed that I would tell them a Bible story. I received a letter in which a sister wrote the phrase, "If you move from one cell to another, view it as being assigned with a new territory, as you have completed the previous one."
In one letter, I received the outline for the memorial, and I was very eager to give the talk. I started speaking with an inmate who was interested in the Bible. I explained to him what the celebration was, how it was going to be held, and that there will be a talk given. And so we agreed that the next day, on the day of the memorial, I would give the talk. And then at 10:30, he shouts to me, "Sergei, you can begin. We're all listening to you carefully."
So this guy teaches one of his fellow prisoners about rejecting Jesus Christ at the Jehovah's Witness Memorial celebration. And he's proud of it.
The inspector comes to my door and looks through the spy hole on the cell door. I ask him, "Did something happen?" He says, "Nothing, nothing. Continue reading. Read." I said, "Oh, Jehovah, thank you so much."
How effective this guy is. I wonder if he was that effective in the door-to-door ministry.
Присутствует независимо от обстоятельств, от того, что происходит вокруг. И регулярно у нас не было за время нашего пребывания здесь ни одного пропуска.
Throughout the whole period of persecution, I was strengthened by the words of Jeremiah 48:10. "Cursed is the one who carries out the mission of Jehovah neglectfully." When I found myself in such hard and difficult circumstances, I understood that I had the responsibility to give a witness to Jehovah's name by my conduct and deeds.
All right, I have to comment on this. This guy was strengthened by Jeremiah 48:10. In an attempt to not carry out the mission of Jehovah neglectfully, he feels he has a responsibility to give a witness to Jehovah's name by his conduct and deeds. This is truly unbelievable, okay? Jeremiah chapter 48 is a judgment on Moab. The verse does not read neglectfully, but deceitfully. The God of the Bible pronounces judgment on Moab in Jeremiah 48 because one of the reasons was they trusted in their own works and deeds. I just want to show you. We're going to start in verse 7. I'm going to read what's underlined. "For because you have trusted in your works, you shall also be taken." It talks about Chemosh, which is their false god. Verse 8, what's underlined? "And no city shall escape. The valley also shall perish, and the plain shall be destroyed. Give wings to Moab, that it may flee and get away. The cities thereof shall be desolate." Here's what this guy read and is encouraged over. Verse 10, "Cursed be he that does the work of the Lord deceitfully." Let's just keep reading. Verse 12, what's underlined? "Behold, the days come, says the Lord, that I will send unto him wanderers, and Moab shall be ashamed of Chemosh, as the house of Israel was ashamed of Bethel, their confidence." Let me ask you, where is there any encouragement in this verse? This guy who is imprisoned is serving a false god who requires him to work, preaching, return visits, just as Chemosh, the god of Moab, did. He's encouraged by Jeremiah 48:10 that says, "Cursed is him who does the work of the Lord deceitfully, not neglectfully. I find that very sad. This has got to be scripted. It has to be scripted because he's saying he was encouraged by the pronouncement of judgment upon the people for doing exactly the same thing he is doing. This is the occult. It's hidden in plain sight. He's telling the people they're cursed in the eyes of the God of the Bible. Horrific. This is horrific.
At such times, I was able to imagine Jehovah sitting right next to me and stroking my shoulder and reassuring me that everything will be fine. I am with you.
Did you notice what helped our brothers to joyfully endure their unjust imprisonment? They mentioned how vital it was to keep a good routine of Bible reading, prayer, and meetings, even though they were in prison. They witnessed to others at every opportunity, and they saw Jehovah's love and care in very personal ways. We can do these same things to strengthen our faith and maintain our joy. So whatever trials you're dealing with, don't lose your joy in serving Jehovah. Do not feel sad, for the joy of Jehovah is your stronghold. Brothers and sisters, we appreciate you and the joy that you maintain despite the many challenges we face. It makes us love you all the more.
Nehemiah, they love to quote Nehemiah, the building projects, right? Be faithful like me, Nehemiah, build, build, build. Deuteronomy chapter 18 tells us that false prophets wield their power through fear. If one thing a prophet or a channeler of God says does not come true, then they are not of the true God. They're of the false God, of a false God. We know throughout the history of this organization that has anything they've ever said come true? They're false prophets. They're wielding their power through fear. And this update is a prime example. Trust in the God of the Bible. Jesus says that he will be with you always. He will be with his followers. He is the door, and no one comes to the Father except through Jesus. These men, this organization, they're imposters. They're going to make you work. They made me work. And some people have worked their whole lives for them. They're still striving to please that God. Jesus did the work for you. He died for you. Turn to him today. Cry out to him. It's between you and him. Cry out. Ask him to save you. He'll show you the way. Thanks for watching, friends. Have a great day.